Welcome to Module 1, Lesson 7, Pragmatism and Mixed Methods. Today we'll explore how pragmatism provides a philosophical foundation for mixed methods research. This lesson bridges our previous discussions of positivist and interpretivist paradigms by introducing a philosophical approach that accommodates methodological pluralism. Pragmatism offers a practical alternative to the paradigm debates we've discussed and provides justification for integrating different research approaches. Thank you for choosing to visit my lesson plan for today. It is my hope that this video helps you learn more about mixed methodologies. If by the end of this video you found this lesson helpful, please consider visiting my webpage to find the entire course at subthesis.com and other products to help you perform better quality research with less time and energy. Also, consider liking and subscribing to this free module video. In this lesson, we have these key objectives. First, we'll identify the philosophical foundations of pragmatism in research, tracing its origins and core principles. Second, we'll analyze how pragmatism effectively bridges traditional paradigm divides, offering a solution to what some call the paradigm wars. Finally, we'll evaluate the implications of pragmatic flexibility for research design, particularly how it enables mixed methods approaches that combine qualitative and quantitative techniques. Pragmatism represents a distinct philosophical approach to research. Unlike positivism or interpretivism, pragmatism is primarily concerned with consequences, utility, and practical solutions. It's fundamentally problem-centered rather than method-centered. This means pragmatists select methods based on what will best answer their research questions, not based on philosophical allegiance. Perhaps most importantly, pragmatism rejects rigid paradigm dichotomies, prioritizing what works in practice over theoretical purity. This philosophical flexibility makes it particularly appealing for researchers tackling complex, multifaceted problems. Pragmatism has deep roots in American philosophy, primarily through the work of these influential thinkers and more. Charles Sanders Peirce established the foundation of pragmatism by arguing that the meaning of a concept derives from its practical consequences. He also emphasized the importance of community in the inquiry process. William James expanded pragmatism by suggesting that truth itself should be understood as what proves useful in practice. His concept of radical empiricism acknowledged both objective and subjective aspects of experience. John Dewey, perhaps most influential for educational researchers, characterized knowledge as instrumental to problem solving. He emphasized the centrality of experience and the inseparability of theory and practice in the production of knowledge. Together, these thinkers established pragmatism as a distinctly American philosophical tradition. Pragmatism encompasses these core principles that differentiate it from other philosophical approaches. Anti-dualism rejects sharp distinctions between mind, body, facts, values, or objective-subjective. Fallibilism acknowledges that all knowledge claims are provisional and subject to revision. Contextualism recognizes that knowledge is always situated in specific historical, cultural, and practical contexts. Pluralism welcomes multiple perspectives and methods. Experimentalism views inquiry as experimental action that tests ideas through experience. The principle of consequences emphasizes practical outcomes over abstract principles. Finally, Meliorism expresses the belief that human action can improve problematic situations. These principles collectively provide the foundation for pragmatist approaches to research. When applied to research, pragmatism makes distinctive ontological and epistemological assumptions. Ontologically, pragmatists view reality as dynamic and fluid, constantly being renegotiated, debated, and interpreted through human experience. This differs from positivism's single objective reality and interpretivism's multiple constructed realities. Epistemologically, pragmatists consider knowledge as provisional and instrumental, valuable when it helps solve problems. Knowledge is evaluated based on its utility, rather than its correspondence to an external reality or its internal coherence. These assumptions provide the philosophical foundation for methodological flexibility. In practice, pragmatist research approaches share these characteristics. Method selection is driven by research questions rather than philosophical commitments. Mixed and flexible approaches are common as pragmatists freely combine qualitative and quantitative methods. Pragmatists often employ abductive reasoning, moving between deduction and induction to develop useful explanations. Research designs frequently evolve during the research process in response to emerging findings. When evaluating research quality, pragmatists emphasize usefulness, transferability, and workability rather than traditional validity criteria. This practical orientation distinguishes pragmatist research from approaches more firmly rooted in specific paradigmatic traditions. To better understand pragmatism, let's contrast it with the paradigms we've previously discussed. While positivism emphasizes objectivity and interpretivism emphasizes subjective meaning-making, pragmatism blends both perspectives by focusing on utility. Positivism generally favors quantitative methods and interpretivism qualitative methods, but pragmatism embraces mixed methods, where positivist research aims for prediction and control, and interpretivist research aims for understanding. Pragmatist research primarily targets problem solving. These distinctions highlight pragmatism's unique positioning as a bridge between traditional research paradigms. Mixed methods research represents methodological pluralism in action. It intentionally integrates qualitative and quantitative approaches within a single study or program of inquiry. This integration occurs at various stages of the research process, from question formulation through data collection, analysis, and interpretation. Mixed methods research is particularly well suited for responding to complex questions that cannot be adequately addressed by single methodological approaches. It's important to note that while mixed methods can be justified from various philosophical positions, pragmatism provides an especially coherent foundation because of its emphasis on selecting methods based on their utility for addressing specific research problems. Mixed methods enhances the comprehensiveness and strength of evidence by drawing on complementary data sources. Researchers employ mixed methods for various rationales. Triangulation uses different methods to corroborate findings and enhance validity. Complementarity seeks elaboration, enhancement, or clarification from one method to another. Development uses results from one method to inform the design of another. Expansion extends the breadth and range of inquiry by using different methods for different components. Initiation discovers paradoxes and contradictions that lead to research reframing. Complexity acknowledges that social phenomena are multifaceted and require multiple approaches. Finally, offsetting weaknesses recognizes that all methods have limitations that can be mitigated by including complementary approaches. These rationales help researchers articulate why mixed methods are appropriate for their specific research contexts. Mixed methods research encompasses these common design approaches. Sequential designs include explanatory designs, where quantitative data collection is followed by qualitative methods to explain findings, and exploratory designs, where qualitative investigation precedes quantitative testing of emergent patterns. Concurrent designs include convergent designs, where qualitative and quantitative data are collected simultaneously and compared, and embedded designs, where one data type plays a supporting role to the other. Advanced designs include multi-phase designs that combine sequential and concurrent elements over time, transformative designs guided by social justice frameworks, and multiple level designs that integrate different methods across various system levels. Each design offers specific advantages for particular research contexts. The true value of mixed methods research lies in integration, the meaningful connection between qualitative and quantitative components. Integration can occur at multiple points: during design planning, through sampling decisions, in data collection instruments, during analysis, and in interpretation of findings. The depth of integration can range from minimal, keeping components separate until final interpretation, to full, merging throughout the research process. Deeper integration generally enhances the value of mixed methods approaches by creating more opportunities for new insights that wouldn't emerge from single method studies. Effective integration represents one of the most significant challenges in mixed methods research. Let's consider how pragmatism and mixed methods apply in educational research. A researcher studying the effectiveness of a new teaching approach might collect quantitative data through standardized tests comparing learning outcomes between intervention and control groups. This provides statistical evidence about overall effectiveness. Simultaneously, they might gather qualitative data through classroom observations and student interviews to understand how and why the approach works or doesn't work. Integration might involve analyzing how student experiences, qualitative, correlate with performance measures, quantitative, leading to more nuanced understandings of the intervention's impact. This pragmatic approach provides both broad evidence of effectiveness and deep insights into implementation contexts, information that neither approach alone could offer. In health research, pragmatism and mixed methods have gained significant traction. Consider a study examining medication adherence among patients with chronic conditions. Quantitative components might include surveys measuring adherence rates and analysis of prescription refill data, providing statistical patterns and correlations. Qualitative components could involve interviews and focus groups exploring patients' lived experiences, barriers to adherence, and decision-making processes. Integration might reveal how specific barriers identified qualitatively correspond to adherence patterns identified quantitatively. This combined approach allows researchers to develop interventions based on both statistical trends and patients' actual experiences, a pragmatic solution that addresses the problem from multiple angles. Organizational research offers another domain where pragmatism and mixed methods prove valuable. A study of organizational change might collect quantitative data through employee surveys measuring attitudes, productivity metrics, and financial indicators before and after implementation. Qualitative data might come from interviews with key stakeholders, narrative accounts of the change process, and observations of new practices. Integration could involve examining how quantitative indicators of successful implementation correspond with qualitative themes about organizational culture. This pragmatic approach provides both the breadth needed to assess overall impact and the depth required to understand contextual factors that influence success, giving organizational leaders comprehensive evidence for decision-making. Despite its practical advantages, mixed methods research faces philosophical challenges. The incompatibility thesis argues that quantitative and qualitative approaches rest on fundamentally incompatible assumptions about reality and knowledge, making genuine integration problematic. Researchers have responded to this challenge in various ways. Some take an a-paradigmatic stance, setting philosophical issues aside to focus on practical concerns. Others adopt a complementarity approach, suggesting that different paradigms illuminate different aspects of phenomena. The dialectical approach embraces paradigmatic tensions as productive. Finally, many embrace pragmatism as a meta-paradigm that provides philosophical coherence while allowing methodological flexibility. These responses demonstrate ongoing engagement with philosophical foundations rather than simply ignoring them. Beyond philosophical concerns, mixed methods research presents significant practical challenges. It typically requires more time, resources, and expertise than single method studies. Researchers need competence in both qualitative and quantitative approaches, or must work in teams with complementary skills. Achieving meaningful integration adds complexity to every research phase. Team-based projects may face communication challenges between researchers from different methodological traditions. Publication can be difficult when journal expectations and word limits favor simpler designs. Finding appropriate balance between components is another common challenge. One approach often dominates, despite intentions for equal emphasis. These practical considerations should inform decisions about adopting mixed methods approaches. Despite these challenges, pragmatist and mixed methods approaches offer significant strengths. Their flexibility and pluralism make them adaptable to complex research problems. They facilitate communication across paradigmatic boundaries, potentially bridging divides in research communities. The completeness of evidence they provide, combining breadth and depth, patterns and processes, outcomes and explanations, offers more comprehensive understanding than single method approaches. They balance the strengths of both qualitative and quantitative traditions while compensating for their respective limitations. For researchers seeking practical solutions to multifaceted problems, pragmatist approaches often provide the most direct route to useful knowledge. We should also acknowledge limitations and concerns associated with pragmatist and mixed methods approaches. Critics argue that pragmatism can lead to philosophical superficiality, a convenient justification that avoids deep engagement with epistemological and ontological questions. There's risk of methodological incoherence when different approaches are combined without sufficient integration. Despite intentions for equal status, mixed methods studies often privilege quantitative components, reflecting wider positivist biases in many disciplines. The emphasis on utility and practical outcomes may undervalue theoretical development. Finally, the complexity of implementation creates barriers to quality. Mixed methods done poorly may be worse than single methods done well. Despite these concerns, pragmatist approaches and mixed methods have gained traction across numerous disciplines. In psychology, they help connect experimental findings with lived experience. Education researchers use them to link learning outcomes with classroom processes. Public health studies combine epidemiological data with community perspectives. Management researchers connect organizational metrics with employee experiences. Social work research pairs intervention outcomes with client narratives. Information systems research links technical performance with user experience. Environmental science integrates natural and social science perspectives. This broad adoption demonstrates the wide applicability of pragmatist approaches across diverse research contexts. As we conclude, I'd like to offer some questions for reflection. Consider which aspects of pragmatism resonate with your own approach to research. Reflect on what research questions in your field might benefit from mixed methods approaches. Consider what challenges you might face in implementing mixed methods in your context. Reflect honestly on your comfort level with methodological flexibility versus paradigmatic purity. Finally, consider what skills you might need to develop to effectively conduct mixed methods research. These reflections will help you determine how pragmatism and mixed methods might fit within your own research journey and philosophy. In our next session, we'll build on this foundation to explore more specific methodological approaches. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate your choice and support. Please consider liking and subscribing to my channel so I can continue to produce content for everyone. Also, please consider checking out my website at subthesis.com, where you can find the course in its entirety.